Hey, everybody. Welcome to tuning in with us for the live Filmmakers Talk Canadian Shorts MAMM winners at the 24th Annual Vancouver Asian Film Festival. I'm Joshua Lamb, MAMM VAFF Alumni and MAMM Creative Producer. A little bit about me, I guess I'm a multimedia creator, always looking for new ways to tell stories and finding creative ways to tell them. An example I just was doing this really quick before we went live, was these are my feelings in comic form about Asian Canadian shorts. So you got local Asian Canadian shorts, slam! I love them, which I really do love. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little spectacle. So we begin by acknowledging that this broadcast is taking place on the unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. So just to recap for everybody, tonight's format, we'll be going into a one-on-one conversation between each of the MAMM filmmakers and myself buckle in for an evening of deep conversation. If I could, I'm here with my lovely namesake, Joshua Aries, from the short Dirty Laundry.
Hey, hello everyone.
There you go.
Hey, nice to see you again, Josh.
Yeah, it's been not too long ago.
No, not at all, man.
So why don't we just dive right in? So why don't you just tell us a bit more about yourself and your MAMM action comedy flick?
Yeah, for sure. Hello everyone. My name is Josh Aries. I'm an action filmmaker based in Vancouver. As I said, I really enjoy making action films. I've been working on them for a while now. And to talk about Dirty Laundry. Dirty Laundry is a 5-minute comedy that follows Joseph, who two best friends who stage a fake robbery in order to impress an ex-girlfriend. So I was very grateful to have a great team behind me during this whole process. And we had a lot of fun, and I'm glad a lot of people enjoyed it. So yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah, and I really loved your direction. I love the angles. I love the my favorite shot's probably the one where it's just the inside the washing machine.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good shot. Awesome shot.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I credit that to actually Mark Junko, my DOP. We were actually blocking it in the laundromat, and he said, "Hey, why don't we shoot inside the laundromat?" And we did it, and it was so funny. We all laughed at it, and we just kept going with it. So
that's awesome. I love it when it's like that kind of run and gun, and you just get it. And it's one of the highlight shots.
Yeah. Shouts to Mark.
Good job, Mark. Love you. So maybe jumping into our first question is, what's the inspiration for your film, and why was it so important for you to capture this through the camera?
Okay. So jumping into MAMM, it was kind of like a bit of a flurry because I initially had another idea going into MAMM. I wanted to make a sequel to an action comedy film I directed like last year called Chinellas, which is a martial arts action comedy film that follows like an angry Asian lady smacking their kids around with a pair of slippers, right? The second, my Enter to MAMM was supposed to be a sequel to that. However, things kind of got changed around with COVID rules and the UBCP union rules as well at the time. So I kind of had to make it something up on the spot. So I was actually really inspired by a film called One Cut of the Dead. I'm not sure if you guys heard about it. It's a very funny, very, very indie Japanese comedy film that I can't talk too much about it, but it made me love filmmaking a lot. And I love the scrambly nature and the scrambly action of it, where basically it's kind of people kind of like scrambling over this side, and something bad happens, they scramble over to this side. It's a very, very things kind of popping up out of nowhere and having to deal with it. And I kind of wanted to capture the chaos and the chaos of that film, the vibe, So I mean, shouts to people who actually do know what the film I'm talking about, One Cut of the Dead, and yeah, the chaotic energy of it too. Yeah, that's really what really inspired me of this whole thing. And Edgar Wright as well. I can't really stress that enough too. Like the editing style of Edgar Wright and the visual comedy as well. And one thing I like to have with my films is that if I can make a person, if a deaf person can watch my film and understand what's going on, I think I did a pretty okay job. So that visual comedy was a big element in Dirty Laundry.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I also got a lot of physical comedy too in that short as well. Just like all the acting, just like a hilarious film. I loved it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much, man.
So I guess going into it, it'd be so. What is it that you'd that's really personally important for you in this piece when you made it? Like, why did you guys choose a laundromat? Have you ever been in a scenario where like you dressed up as a robber and you try to impress your ex-girlfriend? Like, where did it come from?
Yeah, for sure. Dirty Laundry actually came from a place of just really wanted to kind of to like prove myself really, because I think the making of the film basically, yeah, again, to talk about proving myself, I want to prove to the people out there that you can make a film out of like anything that you have access to. Basically, that's a big thing that really is important to me. So I just happen to have access to a laundromat. I happen to have access to like my like really talented friends. Just I want to prove people that you can like really make something awesome out of that stuff. And to talk about why the laundromat too, and why it's called Dirty Laundry in the first place. Yes, I actually to touch on your whole question about if I actually went through something like this. Very, very similar. Very, very similar experiences actually. Yes, but not to the extent of like a heist, a fake heist or anything, right?
Okay.
It came from a place also like people telling me to do things I'm not really comfortable with, and having to like play along, even though I'm not really vibing with the whole meaning behind the misadventure I'm about to go on. So I want to talk about like friendships and like like being honest about yourself and to your friends around you as well. So in order for that friendship to go stronger, you have to go through a bunch of like, part of my language, like a lot of like crap, a lot of like crazy stuff, a lot of misadventures, and you got to like really air out the dirty laundry in a way, and for that to happen, you have to go through like a bunch of like crazy stuff, kind of like a washing machine. You throw dirty laundry in there, you kind of get your relationship kind of tossed around a bit, and you come out as a better person at the end of the day. It's a very, very like botched explanation of what I'm talking about, but basically, bottom line, for a relationship to go stronger, you got to go through a bunch of crap. Yeah, in a laundromat, So
No, that's lovely. You've perfectly packaged that space to be kind of like a space for healing. But I love just the way that you just turned it into this like action comedy, and it's just like it's a great, I guess a great metaphor. I love the metaphor.
Thanks.
And now that you explained it, everyone now needs to go get rid of their dirty laundry.
Exactly, right. Go fold it. Go fold your stuff right now. There's probably a whole heap of them somewhere in your room somewhere. I don't know. It's good for your mental health. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I got a lot on my ground actually, but I will not show the viewers. That will be recorded and be up for everyone to see. So.
Oh yeah, you want to keep that.
That's good. I do have a bonus question related to your film. So this is for you, Josh. So I've noticed, and I've watched a lot of I've watched a couple of your things, a couple of your films, and I believe a lot of viewers have, and they've been following you. Is that a lot of your film pieces involve action, but as well as we were discussing, a lot of multiple uses of comedy. So from like the robber swapping to the use of like social media, with all the hearts and stuff that you guys.
Oh yeah.
I love that. And the media shaming that went behind it. But what would you say was like another inspiration or another direct inspiration for Dirty Laundry? Because you've thrown a couple around, so it's like what was it that was like the biggest one? You'd say?
I would definitely say that, yeah, One Cut of the Dead was a pretty big inspiration because of the whole chaos factor,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I enjoy controlled chaos, like things kind of going wrong and seeing how people are going to react to that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Edgar Wright as well. And yeah, I just love seeing people like, I mean, it might just be like, I just love seeing how people react to things, I guess, like just seeing how that happens. And also like just poking fun at like, things that are just so common nowadays, like social media and like yeah, stuff like that.
Reactions that people do, just like because I loved the reactions in the lower right corner. I was like, yeah, that's me. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
If I was I were to be shamed online, that's the way to go with all these making me want to be a robber.
Just a little fight in the park, a little fight in the park.
So was there like a specific scene though you'd say from Edgar Wright, like anything? Because when I was watching the flick, I'm trying to think. It's like I got a lot of like a little bit of hot fuzz. There's a little bit of hot fuzz in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing I like about like Edgar Wright's style, and then the reason why I really vibe with it in my directing style, I try to kind of make it my own, is that
Mhm.
the way it can convey so much information in such little time. You
Yeah.
know, like a punch and zoom, you're supposed to like feel something from that, right? It's just very very efficient storytelling, and pushing on a knife, or just yeah, it's just efficiency, and then delivering laughs like visually as well is a big factor. Yeah.
Big factor for you. No, that's great. I just got to say, Dirty Laundry was a favorite of mine. So I'm really happy and thankful that you were able to create the piece and show it to everybody, both on MAMM night and again on the VAFF screening.
Yeah, of course, it's a huge honor, really. Like, I really looked at VAF all the time, and I and in the previous years when you guys were all like, in the big cinema and everything, I thought, oh wow, someday I'm gonna go there. Someday I'm gonna be there, and it happened to be this year. I'm so honored and so happy. But obviously with the pandemic and all that stuff too, it's okay. I'll see you guys next year. We'll see what happens.
We'll see you next year. We'll see you in the theaters. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
excited for
Mhm.
that. Do you have do you have any closing remarks
Uh,
about your piece, about your film, about any crew members or anything?
Yeah, for sure. I do want to say this as a big part of me. Oh, a big thing that I also want to talk about this film. I cannot believe I forgot about this.
Okay, perfect.
Is the fact that like the reason why I also want to make this is to also push Filipino representation. That's a huge thing to me. I can't believe I forgot about that. Oh my god! But like, yeah, like our whole cast and crew were all Filipino filmmakers, and and these are people that are super talented. That I don't really see, like enough of often. Like they're kind of new to the game, except
Mhm.
for like Phil and like Mark and all those guys. But huge shout outs to Melvin Medici and Jessamine and Jessamine Salas and Jordan Cameron. All of them Filipino actors. They killed it with their roles. They're just so funny. They were so open to like a critique and like pushing their craft as well. And also to Jory and Phil and Mark and my sister Abby as well. Just pushing Filipino representation. That's a huge thing that really matters a lot to me. We're a talented bunch. I want to see a lot more of us represented up there in the big screen. And another big thing I want to talk about too is the fact that you can really like don't let like external factors just dictate what you can make. I guess I mean like
Mhm.
um we made dirty laundry with just literally like anything that we had access to. I just happened to my mom happened to have access to a laundromat. I had very talented friends. Just like I want to let people know that you can make something fun out of the things you have around you, you know. And every person has a very very like unique perspective on life or in comedy or in drama or whatever, right? So don't be afraid to put your stuff out there. Really, that's one thing I want to say while I have my time here, able to talk with all of you guys right here. So yeah, I
Yeah.
hope that came out clearly.
No, you did. That was awesome. Thank you so much. I mean, makes me feel like I want to get back and make some more things. I've been on a little hiatus,
Oh,
so thank you for sharing your awesome wisdom and your experience. And yeah, shout out to your sister because I remember when we were talking. I was like, oh my gosh, who did the graphics for the Dirty Laundry? And I remembered it was like, and it was like kind of animated at the end of the end credit scene, and it was like
mhm.
global and stuff. Ah, kudos
That's
to your
my
sister.
sister. That's my sister, Abigail Aries. Huge shout out to her. She's very, very talented, and I love her very much. Yeah. And Josh, keep pushing yourself with your creativity, bro. I love your comics. I love I love all the work you do. You have a very contagious like atmosphere. Not corona related, but like just the way that you convey yourself and the way you just provide like energy to everyone too. So hope
Shout
to work with you soon, brother.
Yeah, I know. We'll work soon and talk soon. All right. Thanks,
Yeah, for
Josh.
sure, for sure.
Uh,
Cool,
I guess
cool.
I guess maybe that's the time that we have today with Josh. So thank you so much. That was very kind from Josh to Josh. Um, and thank you for all the eloquent answers and the conversation we just had. So a round of applause to all the filmmakers who were involved with that film. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So going down our list, we got our next gang, our next film gang. So if we'd like to welcome the people from Small Bites, we have, oh my gosh, everyone's piling in. I think we're waiting for Mike, aren't we?
No, I think it's just the two
Oh,
of us.
just the two of you guys. All right. Well, I can go right into it. So we have director Andy Wong, and we got lead actor, writer Lisa Neptuno, and you guys all together have produced this short as well, right? So I want to make sure all the credentials are known for the viewers, so they
And
know
Mike.
what they're up to. And Mike. That is why I called him out. I don't see him, but hopefully he's out there watching us tonight. So yeah, we welcomed you onto the screen. So why don't you guys, kind of explain and talk about yourselves for a bit and your awesomely performed and racially tense short film.
Andy.
Thanks for that performance shout out, by the way, Josh.
I was kind of performing it in the bathroom a bit to the mirror. So
Oh, very good. Very good. Lisa, I'll let you take the story of it. What kind of inspired you to write the story about a woman going on a hike?
Yeah, we were. I think it was we were just having one of our coffee hangs that we do with our little group, and we pitch our ideas together, and we were saying, oh, we should try out for MAMM and see what happens. And I'm like, okay, I got a couple ideas, because the theme is so clear and yet so open. Like, what's your 20? It could like go anywhere. You could do anything with that theme, really. And something that I've always been annoyed by is the question of where I'm from. And so talking about what's your 20, trucker talk or radio talk for what's your location, and some of the stuff that some of the questions that are generally posed to me of where I'm from and where I'm really from. And I'm constantly having to explain myself to people. Whenever I meet someone new, I'm constantly having to explain myself and why I'm here. And so, yeah, that kind of popped up for me. And then we were like, oh, wait, pandemic, Corona, COVID guidelines. What are we going to do? And I was just in the shower one day. I'm like, oh, what's really shootable? What can we do? And I was doing one of these, and I was just like, well, she's going on a hike. Okay, yeah. And it just came to me in the shower, and I was like, guys, I got it. This woman, she's going on a hike. She's got all these microaggressions being thrown at her, and that's it. And they were like, oh yeah, okay, let's see what happens with this one. And here we are.
And I guess I'll jump in as well to, I guess, fill in people who haven't watched the movie yet. Our film, Small Bites, is about a woman who goes on a hike with a new friend that joins their friend group. And this new friend poses like multiple microaggressive racist questions to her that the friend themselves don't actually see as problematic. And so this was a really I felt that this was a very good a way to communicate how so often people don't recognize their own microaggressions, and that is that's kind of where I came into the film and why I decided to join this team.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. That's a lot. That's a lot of great backstory. A wonderful piece. I guess you guys already touched base about the inspiration. It was in the shower. Was there anything else though? Anything else that helped out? Was it like, what were you using, like Head and Shoulders or like Pantene, or what was it that like?
Oh no, honey, that stuff is bad for you. You should really go natural. Like, I use like natural brands. Like I don't want to
Like,
I don't want to seem like I'm plugging anything, but yeah. Anyway, that other stuff. No, you should throw that stuff away. Go natural, honey. Yeah.
Oh, go natural. All right, I'll use some essential oils and stuff, and I'll find that inspiration somehow in the shower next time I go.
Yeah, coconut oil.
All right. Maybe diving in, maybe getting a little deeper then into it, is what's personally important to you about the piece that you guys made? What was it that what was the driving force, I'd say, for you to make the piece? There's a lot of microaggressions, but was there something specific? Was there a bigger microaggression? Was there, what added to it?
For me, if I may, Lisa, for me, it was really important to tell this story with the idea that we don't have an antagonist in our story. Everyone believes that what they're doing is innocent. Is what was really important to me, because no one thinks of themselves as the bad guy when just hanging out with people, right? It's just these microaggressive uh, um, comments don't often get called out, and because of that, it's so people don't realize what they're saying is not what they're people don't realize that what they say could negatively affect someone, because no one really knows that they do, because it's never really talked about or called out.
I see. Not addressed.
Not addressed, yeah.
Especially when it's not within context too. Sometimes you like if it's a close friend and it takes years for you to stand up to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can understand that. Well, Lisa, do you have any comments on coming from Andy? After Andy?
Lisa?
Oh yeah, no, that's pretty much in line with what I had intended with this piece. I felt that there was a lot that remained true visually, that went from script to screen, and maintaining the tone that there really was no antagonist, and if an audience member decided to side with someone, whether it be my character or Mike's character or Andy's character or Luke Sykes' character, it could be something that's personally projected on their own part, and not necessarily something that we intended. It was it was the ambiguity remained clear, if that's oxymoronic enough for you.
No, that's great. I mean, I definitely was rooting for you, Lisa. So
Thanks, man.
now that you explain and say, and Andy, I root for you too. You're my protagonist as well.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no worries. But maybe going into it, I have a bonus question for you guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh, let me try to find that bonus question. So, if you guys didn't know, a fun fact about mosquitoes is that they are drawn to humans by their breath. So if you're drinking bubble tea, I don't know, it might just come at you. So anyone who breathes more, including larger people or pregnant women, they actually might be more attracted to those people based on just pheromones and stuff. So I'd like a fun fact from you guys. What went into the process of using mosquitoes as the allegory for subtle racism? Definitely not because they're attracted to our like bad, boba breath or whatever. So
hey man, taro root is key in my process. Like, I'm writing something right now, and I don't know, I just can't seem to get there without my taro. So.
Oh, is that also what you meant by natural? Kind of pour it out a bit in the shower.
Yeah. Get right in there. Get into the end bits and get rid of those split ends, because COVID hair, right? Like, it's just gonna keep on going until I can get a haircut.
Smells lovely.
I didn't know that mosquito fact, by the way. That's actually really interesting.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. I googled that.
Oh, okay.
Some fun about you guys, but I'd like to know why mosquitoes.
Lisa definitely came up with that one and got inspired by a YouTube video, so I'll let her take this.
Oh, okay.
Oh man. Okay. So yeah, it's true. I was inspired by this YouTube video. I think the last time I watched it, I was on this really crappy date, and this guy was like, "Oh, you speak so well. Is English your second language?" And I'm like, "Does it sound like English is my second language?" So, me being the stubborn me that I am, we continued the date, and I showed him that video of the mosquitoes and how they can be a metaphor for how small bites can no pun intended, but small bites can actually be far more harmful. However seemingly innocuous they may be, but the more we get bitten, the more problematic and the more draining it is on our psyche and on our physical being in the world. And so yeah, I don't know how do we get here. Oh right, bad date, mosquitoes, yeah, and then in the shower I was like, yeah, this could totally work. Going back to the shower, like my hair obsession. I'm sorry.
No, this is great. I think I know what your next film is going to be about. What ends, and then what can be what's some microaggression that's involved in the shower when I'm, not good product. You're right. I gotta use like coconut oil or salmon oil or I don't know, some kind of oil.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I'll get Joe Ferris to direct, and he can have a fight sequence. It'll be great.
Exactly.
The real goal for me for this film, just touching on how people aren't aware of what they're saying, and just the microaggressive bites, is that hopefully like people will watch this film and be more open to just like speaking up about these microaggressive comments and how they are affecting, and then that way it won't be so taboo, and people can actually start being aware of people will start being aware of what kind of comments are inappropriate in that sense.
Wow. No, that's good. That's good. Thank you for projecting that out to our audience, to both Lisa and Andy. Thank you for making small bites. That wraps up our little bit of our time. Sadly, we got to move on to the next group. But let's give a round of applause to the creators over here. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for having us. Great festival, great summer. I had a blast. It was a real honor. And then there was this. So
thanks, VAFF team.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Worries. We'll catch you guys in a bit. All right. We'll catch you guys shortly. See you guys. So moving on. Hello, everybody. It's back to just being me. So I'd like to welcome the next cohort. Reeling them in. We got co-directors, Shinokata, Yuko Masaki, with both of them directing, and with Yuko being the lead actress in the short. In which year? Hello, guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, how's it going?
You got a really good. What is up?
What's the background?
Well, it's just like a little random little kind of spice in the background. I just wanted that,
Is that did you put a cookie on like on a light, like to get that pattern?
It's like a gobo, like it's like a little like disc, metal disc with like a pattern in it. And you just slot it in a type of light that I have set up, so it projects that type of pattern. Yeah, it's cool. Having fun. Awesome. I mean, the pandemic's kind of got me bored sometimes. So, you gotta play around. I don't know. Anyway, how you doing?
Looking love. I'm doing great. It's been an eclectic. Oh, is that a right word? Eclectic. It's been an electrifying evening for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe speeding along, because now that you discussed, your lights and the stuff in your bedroom, why don't we just dive deeper into both of you guys and your thoughtful staycation short film?
Yuko, do you want to go first, or?
You can go ahead.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So Yuko and I both co-directed the short "Wish You Were Here," which is about like an imaginative girl who brings her unwilling boyfriend on like an emotional roller coaster to Japan from the comfort of their own home during the pandemic. And like, yeah, like it was a very kind of interesting process. I think with the whole COVID thing, and like also like having the story kind of being based off of like some of our experiences together. Yeah. Did you want me to talk about myself? Is that the thing?
Yeah. I mean.
All right.
More, talk a little bit. The viewers know who Shinokata, Yuko Masaki. Like, who are you guys? Well,
yeah.
What are y'all?
Yeah, so sorry, my bad. Yeah, so I'm Sean Okada. I'm like mainly a director of photography based here in Vancouver, emerging director of photography. I'm currently like finishing my studies at UBC in film production, and hopefully I'll be out in the world soon to shoot more stuff. So, but yeah, this was kind of like one of my few like directorial type work, and I'm glad that it's gotten a lot of good reactions and people like it seems so. Yeah,
That's great.
very
Awesome.
happy.
I'm very happy that you got to make and show it. Yuko, what about you? Who are you?
Well, I'm an anthropology student at UBC, and I actually have never really done anything film related. I was just dragged in by Shun, as well as you, Josh, for sort of pushing us to make this film. So yeah, I don't know. I think both of us really wanted to write a story, or to show a story, I guess, about sort of showing our Japanese Canadianness and sort of our own heritage, and looking at what it means to be Japanese Canadian, because we are both second generation born in Canada, and so we wanted to sort of highlight those experiences.
That's lovely. Very, very, very well put, Yuko. Which I guess this is a great segue then into our
Ooh.
first discussion question, which
Heck
is, I think you guys know what this one is what inspired your short film? You know, why is it important that you went out, shot, and edited this piece?
I think, yeah, if I can maybe start on that. Like, well, at the beginning of the pandemic, like we were both actually wanting to go to Japan, and like we had kind of been talking back and forth about like, hey, like maybe we can go in a month, maybe we can go in or like next year and like early next year. But obviously, this whole pandemic situation's gone down, and so we had to really take that put that aside. Other than that, I mean, like my dad had also wanted to go with me as well, so he was also kind of pushing like very, very last minute. Like I think it was kind of either April the month before where we were almost about to go, like really close, but then yeah, we just decided not to because safety. But yeah, that's yeah. Yuko, do you want to speak more on that?
Yeah, and I think it sort of stemmed from our own experiences, and I was seeing, because from my perspective, I wanted to go to Japan, eat tofu, and just have fun. That was all I really wanted to do in Japan. And whereas I was watching Shun, and he was really, really very upset of not being able to go, and he had those kinds of familial connections that I didn't really understand, and so I think we wanted the film to sort of show that um, our sort of differing perspectives on what Japan actually means to us.
Yeah, and it was very well the contrast and the comparisons between the two. It was really, really well thought out and very eloquently told in the film. I think they did a great job on that front. I guess maybe going a little deeper is what's really personally important to you guys about the piece that you made?
For me personally, it was first and foremost, I guess. I mean, I guess it's a little selfish now that I think back at it, but it was like a piece dedicated to my grandmother, who passed away after, like, soon after we decided not to go, and the pandemic got worse. And from that, I also realized that, like, I also had a friend of mine who his grandmother, I believe, also passed away kind of during the same time almost, and it just made me realize, like, yeah, well, I did experience a loss, but I'm also not the only one. And especially during these times where we can't see each other, and we can't care for each other, at least in person, that barrier and of distance, it was very kind of difficult to kind of jump over. And so, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what inspired the piece.
Yeah.
Yuko, do you have any comments?
I mean, I think it was also, for me, I think it was a chance for me to sort of see sort of what world should works in, because I hadn't really experienced it, and it gave me sort of more insight and understanding into what actually goes into filmmaking. And yeah, I don't know. I think I was mainly sort of pushing for the story and everything for Shun, in terms of trying to get a message out to people who aren't able to be with their relatives, or because of restrictions at seniors' homes where they can't go and see them, or with any relatives that have passed away due to COVID. Really wanted people to know that they weren't alone. There's and they can find some kind of comfort, even if they are far away.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for that message. And I guess this goes into my bonus question.
Segues.
Segue. I love it. It's a studio segue just going around on the next one. I guess in the film, in Wish You Were Here, the relationships of both the protagonists are extremely important, right? With them together, and relationships that extend overseas, and sometimes we can't experience the grieving and celebration of one's life together. So, what would you like people to get out of the film due to not seeing loved ones during the pandemic?
I think that like one thing that I'd like people to get out of the film is I guess, again, like reiterating, like be there for your loved ones whenever you can, regardless if it's in person or virtual. Currently, if you're not living together, you should not do in person, obviously. But I mean, I think that's really one thing I kind of regret, actually, is that I didn't really get the chance to really reach out to my grandmother and stuff like that before she did pass. And so, I mean, yeah, like if you ever get the chance to, even virtually just be there for them, like that would hopefully mean a lot to them. So for me, that's probably one takeaway that I'd like people to get out of our film. You're not alone.
I mean, I think it also highlights that we can sort of go through the grieving or have a funeral sort of, even if it's in a different country, we can still experience that and have that. I know with before we actually started shooting the film, on the first shooting day, we went in front, or we had an altar set up for the film, and which had a photo of Shin's grandmother, and so my mom got us to go in front of the altar and actually pray, and it was, I think, maybe you should talk about it.
Oh my God, that was rough. That was a really rough start to work. I mean, I looking back at like that, I really needed that, because frankly, we just didn't have time to really mourn for her. Like, her passing kind of came in very quickly. I mean, another thing I forgot to mention, she passed away from cancer, most likely, pancreatic cancer. So like, that things happened very quickly. So it's just like, that was actually my first time to be able to like sit down and mourn for my grandma. So that was a very precious experience. So yeah, that fun fact that happened literally like either the day before, or I think it was like the morning of the shoot.
Yeah, it was the morning of,
Yeah.
and I think it really put us in a better place.
Yeah.
In terms of going into the shoot, knowing why we were doing what we were doing. Yeah.
It was funny too, like some of the crew even like came up to me afterwards being like, you know what, Shun, we're doing this for your grandma. I was like, oh wow, thanks. I didn't really. It was like a very strange and ethereal experience to just kind of like go through that process. I mean, like in film school and stuff like that, we've also obviously been told like don't take film as like a therapy kind of like way to cope. But I mean, like in a sense, it really was kind of therapeutic in a strange sense. And being able to kind of share like this kind of story was very important to me. So yeah, I mean, I hope people enjoy the film.
Yeah, and I believe a lot of people did. That's why you're celebrating it a second time. Yeah. I guess is there any closing remarks about the piece? Is there something else coming up in the works, or would like to have any closing remarks?
I mean, for me, I guess like well, firstly, yes, thanks, Josh, to you, because I mean, you were also part of the inspiration for like actually having this film made in the first place. Like, you're the one to really push us to do MAMM in the first place, which is a wonderful experience. I know you did MAMM last year, and I worked on your set, and it was so fun. It's hectic, but it was fun. But so yes, thank you to you, thank you to VAFF and MAMM, and thank you to our amazing crew. Like, shout out to like Ernest, our director of photography, Ray, Azumi, Yuko's mom.
Yeah, they did the whole set and everything.
Yeah, no, that was quite insane.
There were tree branches everywhere, and it was
yeah,
all
yeah, yeah. The other people, like I guess like Darren Zhu, who was a wonderful composer, Harley Marinan, Zitong Gong, Josh. There's another Josh, Josh Matson, who was our wonderful sound designer, and yeah, it was just a pleasure to be able to work with such a great team and like to have this be made. So
Yeah.
really means a lot.
You forgot? Did you say Ian? Ian Tan?
Oh, Ian Tan. No, I can't forget about. No, I can't forget about Ian. Ian, yeah, Jane Lee as well, and who else is there? Vivek Sodal. Yes, yeah. I think that was everyone. Yeah. Thank you to all of us. They helped with like some of the art, like pre art. So yeah.
Yeah,
lots of fun.
I do have actually one quick question actually for both of you.
Go for it.
Was so the bathroom set. Like, when you guys showed out. Honestly, when I saw it, I actually felt it's like it's an onsen, right? It's an onsen. So I just like, now I want to do that in my bathroom. So like, how was it? Like, where did it come from? How did you guys do it? Like, what was behind that?
I think we were both like trying to just come up with ideas of what could you do that was very Japanese at home. And then Shun, I think you came up with the idea of being like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if they were sitting in a bathtub, pretending it's an onsen? And what's fun is actually my dad actually did that. Because the baths here when he first arrived from Japan, they were very shallow, which he really hated. So then we specifically got a bathtub which was the deepest that you could get, and he was like and he was really happy about that and being like, oh, it's like an onsen, this is great. But yeah, so I think it was a fun idea. But
no, and it was wonderfully executed. That was such a striking shot. I'm pretty sure it was used in the trailers for MAMM a lot.
It was, yeah.
It was. So what was it like setting it up? The whole set?
That was all my mom and my little sister, Hisako and Izumi. So it was actually my mom's idea to just cut branches from one of the trees in like my front and backyard and just take those branches and put them in wherever to make it look cool and more like a forest environment that you would find at an onsen. Yeah.
What? So I mean, if you look at your house right now and we turn, flip the camera, we see like, missing branches. And
we actually had to cut our trees anyways because they're going over the sidewalk, and so it worked out well. Yeah.
It did. Yeah. We didn't need a separate greens department. You know, they were just the greens department and art department and everything in between. Yeah, no, they were amazing. So.
And family, it was family too.
Yeah.
Family, greens, all of it, all bundled into this one little package. You could let people know that's your rental. That's.
Oh gosh, I don't know if they would appreciate that, but maybe. Anyway, yeah.
Awesome. So, and do you have any other closing remarks you'd like to say about the piece?
A big shout out to both my mom and little sister, because they also really helped us with writing the script. My little sister, she wrote the first draft for us so that we could have a jumping off point, from which then me and Shun worked on it, and then we were consulting my mother in terms of the Japanese, making sure everything was okay and we weren't sort of culturally appropriating or anything, because that was a big concern for us, because our Japanese level is very low.
Little do people know. Yeah, like we are close to illiterate-ish,
Yes.
kind of. No, we can speak very well, but reading, writing.
We're on the Canadian side. We're all Canadians here. Yeah. But it's great that you're able to receive that help and dive deeper into your culture and how it intertwines emotionally with you guys. So thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause for Shun and Yuko for making Wish You Were Here. Awesome short. I hope everybody else is doing the same thing, But I don't think they would, because they would be doing that for us. But
thanks so much, Josh.
Well, thank you guys. I guess I'm gonna get the next cohort in, but thank you again. Catch you guys soon in a little bit. Awesome. So that was great. Awesome film. Hope you all liked it. And now we can move on to the next group of MAMM filmmakers here with us tonight. I guess I'm here with director-writer Andrea Nirmala Wijajanto and producer Matthew Hurst.
Hi. Hello.
Did I get that all right?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I was practicing so much in the bathroom today, so I'm glad I got your guys' feedback. That was good. Welcome, and I see you guys are together. That's awesome. I guess now that we see you guys on the screen, I'd love to know more about yourselves and your beautifully puppeteered and production designed short, Shikandi.
Well, the production design is all Rachel. I can't take credit for that.
Oh.
So it was also a big part we got a lot of help from the Indonesian consulate and Indonesian trade stores, because most of the set deck that you guys see is mostly from them, that they donated it us. Not really donate, but they let us lend it and use it for zero money. Also, the puppets are the puppeteers. They belong to him, and also he helped us create the screen. Like, we gave him money to make for the materials, and then he made us the screen for us because he knows best. Yeah,
pretty much what she said. It was just like partnering with the consulate, getting the gamelan instruments from them, and then finding a way to get them to set and kind of making sure it looked as authentic as possible.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. It honestly sounds like a great relationship you had with the consulate, and able to make this beautiful short film. It was like one of my favorite ones. And I love that there's like virtually no English, and it is purely in your mother tongue. So
yeah, well, I don't know. Like, I've never had it in my head that I wanted to make it in English, because it was such an Indonesian story, and it was even like, I didn't even bring it up in the pitch actually, but it's actually a retelling of an Indonesian myth. Like the title itself, like Sri Kandi is actually a female archer who wanted to become a warrior, but her father didn't let her, because she had to continue the legacy of being a princess and take over the kingdom, but she wanted to be an archer, so she escaped to train. And that's kind of where it kind of mirrors, because you're not allowed to become a shadow puppeteer as well if you're a girl. And yeah, that's kind of where the birth is.
No, that's great. So I guess I mean, that kind of just went right into my roller coaster of questions I was going to have for you guys was what inspired your short film and why was it important that it had to be produced? I mean, you can go in more depth now if you want to about, you know, the whole myth, but if there's more that added to the story, please do tell us.
Well, no, it's very straightforward. It's talking about like gender norms and how it's very, very traditional, and how Indonesia's mindset has been slowly too with like politics, like our countries have been slowly going back to like reverse mindset of in terms of like instead of evolving and transforming, we became more and more conservative. So that's why I kind of want to touch on that story, because it is very much similar to, well, any kind of arts where you don't really see a lot of women of color, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was coming from with it, and I wanted to do it as a coming of age story because I wanted it to be a transformation period of her transitioning, and that's why the myth that was inside the short as well. There's a lot of myths, but the myth that was inside the short as well was also a transitional myth, so it's kind of like a big metaphor as well.
Beautiful. That's great. Matt, do you have anything to follow up from that?
I think Andrea pretty much said it all. We kind of worked together previously on something that was like similar to this on the wayang puppets, and then Andrea had this idea to kind of expand it and kind of bring it another step forward and the coming of age story and kind of integrating the myth more heavily, and like, you know, I think as we all love myths and stories and kind of integrating those into modern stories, it seems like a great fit.
Yeah.
Retell the story, this myth, and I wasn't too familiar with the myth, so I got to kind of learn about all of the these kind of Indonesian myths as I was making the film.
Yeah, and that's what I love about film, and especially your film, was because with the whole shadow puppets, it made me feel like filmmaking essentially, right, is just a bunch of humans gathered around something that's bright and glowing, and we see a story come to life, right? Like fire, like what is it, like campfire stories, right? It's like so integral to all cultures essentially. So I just loved the film and how it touched into that ancient myth, and it was just wonderfully told.
Yeah, and it was great working with the shadow puppeteer as well, and kind of getting his perspective on like having he had been studying the shadow puppets for his entire life, and so he kind of brought that entire lineage with him and kind of taught us about it all as he was doing it as well.
That's great, and I guess that's his occupation here in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's awesome. I guess maybe this then goes into another question I had was, I believe, Andrew, you touched on it, but you could always go further, is what's personally important about the piece? And same with you, Matt. What's personally important about the piece that you guys made? You know? Because I know we talk broad, but is there anything specific?
Well, the most personal thing that I have was because I took a lot from the mother and daughter relationship from me and my own mother. Maybe not all of it, but definitely some moments of their relationship, but mostly in a way that I wasn't that much of the protagonist, as my parents always supported me into filmmaking and they never had to say no to me, and it was nothing gender-based or anything, but it did come to a point where filmmaking was too expensive, so they wanted me to take another route first before going into filmmaking, because it was the most economical solution, and that's where we had our disagreements when I was 17, or like what the age of the protagonist was, and that was when me and my parents had a difficult conversation of like, where do I want to go to take the next path of my life? Because yes, I understand where you guys are coming from, but then I also don't want to take your own path. Like, I want to make my own path, if that makes any sense. And that's where I'm coming from.
That's great. You know, it's a hero's journey in both your life and the film's life for the protagonist. Matt, anything about you for this specific piece?
I mean, it's like when Andrea kind of came to me with the story about, you know, the myths kind of mirroring the coming of age story. I mean, it just kind of seemed very relatable. whether or not taking the entire cultural aspect out of it, the story itself was incredibly relatable, kind of with a young woman trying to follow her dreams while being kind of having this kind of pushback by her parents, and kind of the parents even having these myths proving all these things that they, that she believed in, and kind of these beliefs stemming like back generations. It seemed like a great story to tell, especially this year.
You're right, especially for this year, and a lot of reflecting happens, right, with us during pandemic 2020. So awesome film, congratulations, really loved it. I do have a bonus question.
Bonus question.
Yeah, Bazinga, here it is. So spaces are extremely important for telling narratives, shaping and shifting them. If you didn't tell me, I would have thought you folks flew out to to Indonesia to shoot this film, right?
We did during a pandemic.
Yeah. That for a second, I was like, did they really? And I was like looking at my phone, and are they allowed to? But with this piece feeling almost out of this Vancouver world, how did the space and the whole set, how did that influence your storytelling and crafting of the piece?
You just kind of stumbled upon the right place, honestly.
Yeah. It was. Oh, yeah.
It's a location down in Gastown called the Island Works, and they do they film a ton of stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seemed, Andrea said, it just kind of looked perfectly Indonesian.
Yeah. Well, I took a look at some photos and I was like, okay, this is kind of what I was going for. Like, it's dark, it's moody, and like I wanted to go check it out for maybe a backup option or something, because we were doing a tech scout that day, and we kind of added that to the list like very last minute. The morning, like I went to Google and was like, hey, can we add this like super last minute to the scout today? And when I found it, I immediately said, like, you know what, take my money. I want this location no matter what. Because what's interesting is that when we went to the back area, they had an Indonesian statue there. Like, yeah, like what are the odds? Like they had an Indonesian carpet, they had an Indonesian umbrella, they had an Indonesian statue. So I was like, what the fuck? Like
that's the reaction you had right there. What the?
Yeah, word for word.
Word for word, verbatim. Love it.
And I was asking the owner, like, how did you get this? And he didn't really have a question for it. I didn't remember. Maybe he purchased it off an Indonesian
It just
artist.
happened to be there.
But it happened to be there. And I even told my mom, like, where else are you gonna find this? And I also, the only thing that was, I don't know why, but the windows kind of also sold me on it, because when I looked at the windows, I told, because we had our art director there, and like our art director, like who helped out Rachel with the cultural supervisor and stuff, because she's also Indonesian. And I was like, look, doesn't that look like Indonesian windows? So we had the bare bones of it, but the place came empty. So that was really a huge part on the art team, to bringing all the set deck in, bringing all the props in. But they were already like the bare bones of it, because it was very much the nature aspect that I wanted. Because if you go to Indonesia and you go to these rural places, it is mostly like greens and like things are not as tidy. So when it is closer to rustic and messy and with the statue and everything, I was like, sold.
That's just kind of crazy. That's like coincidence that you're just walking, you go to Ironworks, and boom, just like all the indicators of what you're looking for was just there, a beacon to call you guys in. I guess it was pre-made already for you. There's destiny.
Yeah, and then once we got all the consulate kind of furnishings in, it just kind of came to life that way.
That's great. Like that's what sold me on this piece, was just like, oh my gosh, I literally felt like you guys just went somewhere, and I was like, I don't think this is a part of the guidelines. I'm pretty sure this is like I don't know. It was like when it came in, I watched it. I was like, what? I would have not believed that was Vancouver. 100% would have not believed it was.
Yeah, it was like right by a train track too, so it was like the noisiest place to film, but we just had to make it seem like the most remote place in the world.
Oh, it's there. So it's like the last stop on the SkyTrain, right? It's like by Ironworks, Gastown.
Yeah, kind of like I don't remember the name of the street anymore.
Alexander
Street.
That's crazy. I guess maybe I got to go location scouting in the back alleys and see what I find, because nuts. Because most of the time, Gastown, it just looks more like London, like more British. So it's just, what a great thing about Vancouver. You can dress it up any way you want.
Yeah, like it's a super chameleon.
Yeah, it really plays for Indonesia.
Yeah.
So do you guys think of planning to go back there to shoot something else? Are you thinking of maybe expanding on your 5-minute short to make something else? Because I know it ends a little I feel like this is the intro to a film. Exactly. That it would go into a feature. So.
No, I definitely want to go back home and shoot something. I already told you. I already told him that let's go to Indonesia. Well, COVID willing.
Yeah.
I guess it takes time. I have good thoughts and good feelings that we'll be able to go shooting again, hopefully abroad.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Do
you guys have any closing remarks about Shrikandi?
Angela?
Well, thank you for watching our film. I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you can take something away from it, because there are a lot of moving elements. And even if it's not a young girl coming of age story, I even believe that there is a lot to say about spirituality. And also, having to not be with someone virtually, because that was where we came up with the theme of Where's Your 20, especially with times like these. And
I think you hit it on the nail on the head.
Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for the chat and the conversation. Everybody, that was the team who made Shrikandi. Woo! Hopefully people in the back are like, we don't see you, but I feel that there's an applause going on back screen or wherever you guys are, streaming. So thank you guys so much. We'll catch you guys soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys. So that's the Team Shrikandi. Thank you so much. Awesome film. Love the way it was shot. Love the framing. So moving onward, though, we do have the team who made the short film Lose. I hope I said that right. Oh my gosh, and here it is. And here we are. I have director John Chang, and we got DOP Peter Planta. Hello, guys. These were the short film. I'd love to hear more about you guys, yourselves, and your emotionally provoking short.
Yeah, I'm John. I'm a director in town. I have mostly done documentaries and branded and commercial work. So Loose was actually my first short. What else can I say about myself? Yeah, I'm Chinese Peruvian. My parents were both born in Peru, so there's a lot of elements of magical realism and that I brought into Loose. So I think that is kind of like my connection to the title and why I ended up naming the film that.
That's awesome. That's great. I love that little backstory. Peter?
Well, I am a Filipino-Canadian filmmaker, the cinematographer based out of Vancouver. And I actually got my start in filmmaking through MAMM 10 years ago. First thing I ever made was a MAMM film. So when John came to me and said that he wanted to do his first narrative short, I jumped on the opportunity to get back in it, because I haven't done a MAMM in a few years. So I thought it would be nice to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, and welcome back. It's great. It's great to see you again. I know we did a MAMM ages ago.
That we did.
The competition, like
2014, something like that, like a while ago.
Yeah, it was like like 8, 9, 10, maybe 10. I don't know. Maybe not 10. That's too long. But I guess going into it, so the first question I have, and for viewers of VAFF tonight, would like to know what inspired you to shoot your short film, and why is it so important that it had to be made?
Yeah, so like the question, of course, the theme of MAMM was what's your 20, or it is what's your 20. And I feel like I was really struggling to answer that. I like this all came in. I'm not sure if past filmmakers have talked about this, but the question came in kind of like, I guess around the springtime, right as like lockdown was starting, right as there was all the social unrest and Black Lives Matters movement and just a lot going on in North America and the States and the world. And it was hard to kind of pinpoint exactly a topic, I guess, that I wanted to approach this film with. But it was just like a feeling that I wanted to convey, and a feeling of this time that I think would just like kind of hold it in a film versus any sort of like specific narrative. And what ended up just coming up was talking about I guess this like story of Taylor, our protagonist, who ends up trying to go find his cat and ends up in this dark hole, and really just like metaphorical symbolic place that I felt in, and I feel like lots of other people were in this time. And just the idea that we kind of had to pick ourselves out through this hole at that time and in this time, because still,
We're still in the hole a little bit.
Just going back into it for another 2 weeks. So
We're getting close.
Yeah.
Peter, what about you?
Yeah, kind of the same thing when John was talking about this hole that our protagonist falls into, and just like discussing like what it means. It was definitely something that I was feeling, and we had talked about separately, like totally separate from filmmaking in general. Just this kind of like sinking feeling and kind of not knowing what to do, and like kind of depression just based on like state of the world and being cooped up at home all the time. And then like I saw the film as a way to like work through those demons in a way where like I get like pull myself out of the funk by doing something creative. And that's kind of a big reason why I wanted to make the film.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really good point that Peter brought up. I think like filmmaking just allows for that, you know, like it's just a medium to express a feeling through an idea or something that's inside of us. And I feel like that process was like very much needed. And I think it'd be interesting to look back on this film like years later and see like how it resonates still like from this time or
yeah, maybe giving people new meaning to what different holes they might be finding themselves. Right? So was there like a specific film though, or anything that inspired you like to piece? Like was there anything you watched?
Actually is more what I was reading. So like I read a lot of Murakami novels, and there's something about the way he captures like places. And I think the best film adaptation that I think I saw was Burning, which was a Murakami short story. But there's something about like this tone and this feel that he creates through his novels that I was like, I've always been really interested in trying somehow to like just capture some of that in a film, and just doing my best to do that. But there was a lot of inspiration from the way he writes that I wanted to translate that into the visual. And like there's lots of like thematic things that he'll bring up all the time in his novels, like, or not thematic, but I guess like very iconic things like jazz music, cats, like people in holes. One of his short stories, The Wind-Up Bird Chronicles, actually has the protagonist falling into a hole. So that was kind of like, I think as I was writing it, I looked back after and I was like, well, I totally just like ripped off that idea of him falling into a hole. So
I wouldn't call it a ripoff.
Homage.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, show your appreciation for Murakami. So, yeah, I mean, Peter, for visual stuff, any inspirations for you?
Well, yeah, so John kind of gave me a list of films, and Burning was at the top of the list. And a lot of it was actually just through our talking of like how to express, again, the feelings that we were feeling at the time. So yeah, I feel like it was less necessarily drawing on on visual references and more of like how we're feeling and trying to translate that visually. And like one of the big things for us was a lot of other films that we've worked on together, and the films I do is like a lot of movement and you know, like a lot of running. I always feel like I'm running with a camera.
You should just see some behind the scenes of Peter.
Yeah.
Or on top of cranes.
Yeah, just a lot of stuff like that. But this one, we were very deliberate about like having it more locked off to kind of reflect the character's like state of being, where he's like kind of stuck in place. So that was like a big thing for us, just in terms of visually conveying those feelings.
Yeah, and I definitely got that in a lot of the shots you had about the trees and stuff, and the breeze going through. I really loved those still shots. Really conveyed the sense of what the film was visually conveying. It's an amazing job. And maybe diving deeper into the short, what's really personally important to you about the piece you made? So I'm taking this. You guys both felt like you guys were in these giant deep holes.
Yeah, I almost feel like it like maybe wasn't. It's weird. I feel like I made this film for like a part of myself that went through something like this, like a couple of years ago, not necessarily like in the present.
Oh.
Yeah, like no, I didn't actually fall through in a hole, but just like going through breakups and finding myself in like these places where, you know, just like I'm really alone or feeling depressed. But I think that's where I think I drew the feeling from, of what I wanted to convey. That kind of like was maybe the closest thing that I could approximate to what I was going through now, in like a kind of very different context, but maybe similar state of being. And then I think the other like really personal thing that I wanted to do was I was planning on doing a MAMM film like 2 years ago, and then like I went traveling and then things didn't happen, and Peter and I have been talking about doing a MAMM film for a while. So personally, it was just like I just feel like I really wanted to do my first narrative and do it through MAMM. So that was really important for me to just like go through that process and to just make it and see what it was like and see if it was something that I want to keep doing.
That's awesome. And Peter, I guess were you the moving force that pushed you? Like,
no, I wouldn't say that. Like John's been one of my best friends since high school, and then like we'd have long talks about, again, like how we're feeling in this time, and I'd say he was more the driving force in terms of like getting me out of a funk.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and just wanting to do something where we have kind of carte blanche in terms of being creative, right? So again, like I, started with MAMM 10 years ago and then took some years off, and John was like, let's do it again. We talked about this for years. Let's finally do it. So that was a big thing for me in terms of it being personally important, was being able to do this narrative film with my friend, and then also having this creative outlet to work through the funk that I was in. And technically I'm still in it, with going back into lockdown. It's not the best feeling right now, but again, trying to find ways to work through it.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you guys are both working together to get out of holes. I have a bonus question, which is for John. So I know you've been primarily, doing a lot of docs and, like you said, more branded content. So what were some things you found challenging or rewarding working on a 5-minute short narrative, especially like making a whole set appear underground?
Yeah. I think the most challenging, I think was just like writing a story that made sense for 5 minutes. I've watched quite a few shorts, and like there's like an approach that resonates with me and like other approaches that didn't. So I think really just trying to figure out like what is something that would just resonate with me and do that in 5 minutes. I think like the technical things are like everything but the whole I felt super confident in. And it was funny because in the pitch process, there's like judges, all the judges give their feedback, and everyone was like, love the pitch, but how are you going to build the whole? And I was like, I don't know, I'm going to build the whole. I'm like, I've never built a whole before. So I think that was like a really good place I wanted to stretch myself in, and definitely like bringing on Jolie, who helped us make the whole, and her team of set designers like absolutely blew it out of the park and like did such an amazing job to make the whole feel really, really convincing, and just beautiful as well.
That's great. I'm guessing, Peter, you had feedback for that whole though. How it was shot, how it would be framed. How was it for you? Was it what was the challenges, the rewards you got with that set?
Well, a big thing was like we had this plan in place on how to rig the light.
Okay.
But then once we actually had the hole built, like that original plan didn't quite work out, so we had to get a little bit more creative.
Mm-hmm.
But I had an amazing gaffer, Avery Holiday. They came in to help, and like I definitely couldn't have done it without them. And in terms of just being able to troubleshoot that, and then just figure out other ways to like do our reflection gag, or like to mount the camera in some other weird position or whatever. But yeah, they were a huge help. So that was my main concern was lighting that space safely, and I felt we were able to get that done. So
yeah, like I guess there's I saw the light source at the top, and like the hole was pretty deep. So I mean, I'm glad you guys found a way to make it safe for you guys to shoot. That's really great. And you have any closing remarks you'd like anybody to know or about the piece?
I feel like the piece is pretty straightforward. Get a chance to watch it if you haven't. But yeah, just thanking MAMM and our amazing team, our small but mighty production team, who came out and did so much, as well as Linnea, who was our amazing editor.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, Peter, anything else you'd like to close out on?
Yeah, I thought this was, considering with the time crunch and everything, I thought the production went by pretty damn smoothly. I got to give a shout out to Joanna, our producer, for that, and again to Avery for the help on set, and Jolie and her team. Like there's obviously like stress going into it, but once we were actually rolling, I felt it was fairly smooth.
Well, thanks to all UND filmmakers out there who took charge and made something in pandemic. That's courageous stuff. So congratulations to you guys and your wonderful short, Lose. So
thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Again, hopefully other people are clapping along too. I know it's kind of weird without like the whole stage and everything. People would be clapping. So yeah, congrats, guys.
Thank you so much.
I'll catch you guys in a bit.
Perfect. Yeah.
Bye, guys. So now we're moving on to our final group tonight, who are part of the MAMM shorts that we screened. So I gotta find a little bit of my information. So lastly, I'd like to have the creators behind Thin Lines to come join me on screen. So woohoo! What's up?
Hey Josh, what's up?
We have Thin Lines, which was created by Moheb Jindran and Alan Chu. Oh, got a call. Oh, messenger?
Who's that?
Who's that? It's not me. Is it me?
Is that you, Alan? Somebody.
It's a fan.
No, it's good.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, they wanted to join in and congratulate you guys on an awesome film. I was about to say, you guys both share the producing, the directing, and like the two lead roles in this film. So awesome. You guys just bounced between each other. So lovely.
I saw a little too much of Alan for that entire period, and I needed a long break from him after that. It was too much.
Well, I mean, visually he looks different now, right? You can handle that, or he looked a little more craggy, more gray haired that week or whatever, right?
He was also very sunburnt and tan afterwards. It was great.
I can see you look a little red.
Oh, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you. Uh-oh. Your AirPods.
No.
Uh-oh. Technical.
Alan, don't leave.
Do you want? No, not yet. No. Do you want to go out without it? You want to forgo it and just talk straight into your laptop or whatever, or camera? Or...
You might need to leave and come back. The Facebook call might have messed him up.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so it was Alan. Yeah, they probably like hijacked your mic.
Leave and come back. I can read his mouth. Is that too much?
I'm not good at that. I mean, while we wait, I was just gonna say, oh man, I think we do need Alan here actually to say that. I guess I could hold a little bit, wait till he jumps back. How's your day?
It's been great. How are you? You've been having a good time? We've been having to talk for the past hour and a half.
I forgot to. I didn't even. You know. Earlier today, when doing the tech check, and I said I'd eat my lunch.
And you didn't?
No, I didn't do it. I still have it here. I have my congee, and I have like my Chinese donut thing.
Oh my god! Alan, say something.
Now it's good. Testing.
Hey, here we go.
Hey,
we hear you now. That's awesome. Okay.
Yay.
No more Facebook calls, people. All right. We know you want to join in and ask questions, but you got to wait. We got a live Q&A shortly. Welcome back. Awesome.
Hey, Josh. Thanks for having. Like I said, in the beginning of the film, you can see like my skin is still like intact, and as the film goes along, you can see like slowly my forehead start to become red, and then slowly my face are red, and and then Mohab, which is the reverse racism, which I think in this filmmaking is that Mohab didn't get sunburned at all. Like the rest of the crew all got sunburned, but not Mohab. So I told him like it's not fair.
My nose was a little tingly, but that's it.
I'm gonna rewatch it now, and I'm gonna like just document. I think there's this like little card where you can determine how sunburnt you are. I'll just hold it up and just turn red until the end, and know that you just need like medical attention.
Oh my god.
I mean the boys are fine, but like I healed like after I think a week. But like our DOP Yandy and our makeup artist Eugene, like they really suffer because I have the stuff makeup on my face to protect it kind of, but like they are just there for the entire day. But yeah, the whole crew did a great job though.
Did you peel off your skin too? Did it peel or?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he showed me his arm. His arm was disgusting.
All right.
Let's burned into my memory.
Let's get out of this. This doesn't sound like special effects makeup. This is just pure agony, real life agony. So I was gonna ask you guys before the whole technical issue occurred was share the audience. Let them know who you two are and about your comedic piece on the conversation of racism.
So my name is Mohab Chandran. I am an indie, primarily producer. I've started acting in the past little year, so trying to get into that. Alan and I met on a short film he was producing right out of VFS, and I originally came on just to help him out, just with some co-producing after that. But ever since that film, we were like, we work pretty well together. We should just do everything together. And then this partnership was born. Right on.
Yeah. Basically it. Like we fill each other's weakness, and then like we don't like when we have conflict we talk about it, and we yell at each other, but it's like
you're not fighting, it's a healthy argument.
It is.
Good.
And then so this year for MAMM this year. So when it comes to MAMM, and if you remember our film from last year, racial identity is a big thing for us. Like we feel very, very strongly about how we perceive ourselves, just in terms of our race, how we fit into the grand scheme of things and all that. And with last year's film, Switcher Who, that sort of stemmed into so basically our shtick is we like taking these big issues and putting a little comedy into it, just to lighten up, just try to spin it in other ways, and really try to help tell a message without just shooting in people's faces. We just like we feel like that's what we're good at. And last year it was about trying to tell the difference between different types of Asians.
Mm-hmm.
And this year was about trying to figure out what racism is by showing you what racism is not. if that makes sense. Because you see everything right now, you see it, like especially this year was all about, you know, with all of the social issues and everything like that. Just racism was at the forefront this year, and our worry was if it would just snowball into this cascade of this little thing is racist, this little thing is racist, this little thing is racist, and then if everything is racist, then what is racist? You know? And that's sort of the question we want to do. And then we wanted to make a film about showing people what's not racist and sort of flipping it on that. So we wanted to tell, sorry, Alan, if I'm talking too much.
Go ahead.
So we wanted to really take the color of your skin into the forefront and really talk about how calling someone by the color of their skin, not in any, like purely in a descriptive way, like calling myself brown or half brown or whatever. I personally do not consider that racist. And it's just because you're just pointing out what you see. We in the film compared it to like pointing out the color of someone's shirt. It's what you have on. As long as you don't say it in there's no preconceived judgments behind what you're saying. You're just describing someone. And that to us was important as, yeah.
Very well said, Mohan.
I'm bumbling.
No, but I guess it is about the intention of how people say it, right? Not just
exactly. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, because I think we all went through our like in the film, like we all went through our fair share of racism, and then like how and like we believe that how in order to solve racism, it's not by like telling people, hey, you can't say that, hey, you can't do that, and hey, that's racism, you can't do that. But that's because they're not gonna stop by you telling them, hey, don't, and they will just say in their mind they're actually nothing's changed. But instead of that, we tell people what is not racism, and in that way, like in order to solve racism, like personally, I think you don't solve it from the side that's being racist. You solve it by the side that's receiving the racism. If you receive it and you think everything that's said to you is racism, is like a personal attack, then the other side will feel the satisfaction when he's being racist. Like he feels good because you feel bad, and you feel like you got racist on. But instead, if you accept everything not like peacefully and not act as everything's like a personal attack or racism, then the side that's attacking you start to lose the interest of attacking because they don't have the satisfaction. They don't piss you off because you feel you're being discriminated. And basically that's of course this is only to a certain degree. And that's why we're trying to make this film, is to tell people to chill off a little bit. Not everything is serious and racist. Sometimes people are just describing what they're saying, or it could be a stereotype, which if you receive it with a positive attitude, you can like solve it and tell them what is the other side of the story.
Exactly. Yeah, I see there's a whole conversation about directed towards PC-ness and how far you can go and how far you take that. And where it even comes into like, censoring things. And so it's a lovely piece. I really enjoyed it. It's just so funny. I love the animation. The animation was great. You guys did a fantastic job. Super lovely. And I loved all the special effects. So kudos to you and your team on that. That was beautiful.
The animation artist, like she's amazing. She works in like professionally in Tencent, the Chinese company, for like 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, she's like in the professional level, and then like right now she's in VFS, and then we reach out to her, and she's very nice. She's glad to help us out, and then she loved the story as well. So yeah, big round of applause to her.
Big kudos. Segueing into my one question would just be, what's personally important about the piece for you guys that you made?
I'll let you go first.
Personally important about the film.
I mean, you guys touched on it a bit, like that we've experienced, us people of color have experienced, forms of racism, and so like, what was it specifically? Were there any specific things you'd like to share?
I think sorry.
I think what's special is that because from this story, I was both the victim and the the other side in the story, like in my memory, because towards the Japanese kid, I was the one who's being racist to him, and we all are. And then through what he did and his reaction, his courage, and his way of handling everything back in middle school, and that's what changed my heart. It's not him to my face saying, "Hey, I don't think you should say that because that's not appropriate." Like if he keeps doing that, we probably won't be as good a friend, and that won't change my heart towards this kind of Japanese stereotype. But exactly what he did and what he put me through. To our friendship, and at the end he tells me why he didn't freak out about the entire thing, and that courage actually changed my perspective towards this stereotype completely, because like in China, this piece of history is very important, and people like the older generation will emphasize on that. So it's hard that for the new generation in China to see what's the proper way to look at this.
Yep.
And I think what I've been through is worth to share it, because it tells people that what we are in, like where we came from, and in the end we're all the same, and why we're the same.
For sure. And a very wonderful story. I'm so happy you shared it.
I'm glad people take it in, because we're scared that it might be too much, especially this year during the Black Lives Matter and everything. And people might find it, like that's not right. Like you still shouldn't call people brown. Like we're scared of that, but I'm glad people actually appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys are opening a much more complex discussion in a more comedic light, but still, this is a very complex issue that we're all struggling as people of color. Right. Yeah. Moheb, any following up from what Alan just said?
I think what Alan said was pretty much the heart of why we wanted to tell this story. Personally, I just wanted, like, we put all these brown. So with Thin Lines and Switcher Who, we put these jokes in that, like, you're too brown, or what is Asian, or Filipino's Asian, and blah blah blah. We put all these in purposely because we want to remove the stigma that it's, should I say this thing, or should I, like, I don't know how this person's going to take it, and blah blah blah. That's like a big thing of what I wanted to tell with the story, was just removing all these stigmas of what might scare people away from just speaking their minds and everything like that. And we just wanted to show that as long as there's no judgments behind what you're saying, just say what you want. You're like, there's no harm in that,
No, that's great. I think that's a great message that you're able to get out to everybody who watched it on MAMM night, and then again tonight on VAFF. So I'm really happy you got to share that story again to hopefully a wider audience, so everyone can experience. Just before we wrap, actually, because we're gonna go jump into the live Q&A, I just had a quick question for you guys. What's up with all these ducks? Like last year there's ducks, this year there's ducks. I'm thinking that next year you guys are just gonna be. I feel like the duck is getting bigger and bigger. It's like that Toronto duck that just sits in the harbor, right? Like, why?
It's funny. I originally wrote the rubber duck into the script with originally in Switcher Who, it had a minimal role. It didn't really mean anything whatsoever when I originally put it in. And then drafts went by of that script, and it sort of took on a different light. And then I sort of realized that this rubber duck, and then again, it leaked into Thin Lines. This rubber duck, to us at least, it represents innocence in a way, where you can't corrupt a rubber duck. Like when you think of rubber duck, you think of when you're a kid, you're taking a little bath with your parents, rubber duck floating around. Like, it brings you back to this innocence that's incorruptible. And that is that's like a big pillar in all of the stories that we're going to tell in this universe we've created.
It definitely started off as a funny prop, but like slowly it becomes, I'll say example would be like the paper folding thing in Blade Runner.
Oh,
it's something that we want to keep it going throughout like the Mohab and my production, and like it's sort of like key prop now in the story that like Mo say, represent like what brings you back to your childhood, and sometimes like your opinion or your judgment on other people, like they develop slowly as you're growing up, because you start taking more experience, know more people, and then you start to have your personal opinion on something. But the rubber duck kind of present like it brings you back to when you're a child, when everything is pure to you, and then you don't know what is difference of the color, what is racism, like you don't know, that it's just to your pure self. I think that's what the duck is for.
Yeah, you essentially become a witness, and there's no reactions, no nothing. You have no thoughts in regards to all these images that we've never witnessed before until now. So that's lovely imagery, guys. I'm so happy you shared that, because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering. So that's beautiful. That wraps up. I'm sorry, that wraps up our little discussion here. But if you guys don't mind, I think most of us, I think we're going to segue, and we're all going to shift to a Q&A portion with everybody. So let's go there, and we'll continue the discussion there. But thank you so much, guys. That's a round of applause for the creative minds behind Thin Lines. So, yeah, everybody tonight, round of applause, round of applause. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Josh.
Are we jumping into this call? I'm not too sure. Oh.
They're joining us.
Oh, they're joining us. Never mind. Oh. I was going to close, and now it's open. The floodgates. Wow.
Oh, hello.
It's really dark.
This is everyone, right? We're not missing anybody else?
All right.
Hopefully. Yeah, I think this is everybody from every team. I hope, yeah?
Lisa?
I guess
No, Lisa won't be joining us on this one because I'm hearing there's not enough space.
Oh. I think it's like the 3x3 kind of.
She's watching though.
Cool. Yay.
Sounds good. Welcome everybody. This is another. This is us reconvening again. This is kind of like what is it? Like on YouTube. It's a reunion. It's a cast and crew reunion. This is a man reunion. So everybody. I have a question number one, and this is actually to all the teams. Could you have made your film stuck to 10 production days total this year? This is from Lynn. I'm hearing some feedback. Perhaps people who aren't speaking, maybe you can mute, and then you're about to speak, and then you can unmute. Let's just do that. Okay, hearing some feedback. Okay, awesome. Oh, no. Alan, wrong one. We want to see your face. It's not sunburnt. Andrew, Matt, did you guys want to go first? I could tell. Oh, no, never mind. You muted yourself. Anybody who'd like to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, what's 10 days? Can you please elaborate?
If we stuck to 10 production days total this year, so like, could you have made your film with just shooting, like the shoot 10 days?
Like you have to shoot between those dates?
I think, could you, if anybody could like to elaborate. So I'll reiterate the question.
I think the question is about, because we pushed our deadline a few days. Is that right, Lynn? Because we pushed the deadline a few days, would we have been actually able to finish the film if we didn't have pushed the deadline? Yeah, is that right, Lynn? I don't know if she can answer.
Yes, only 10 days to production and post.
Okay, that's awesome.
I'll if you guys don't mind, I'll start. I don't think we would have been able to do it just because we were running into so many hurdles with the COVID guidelines, that the extra days definitely helped us get everything together in order to make everything safer and just have a clearer idea of how we were gonna be able to shoot with the new protocols. That's what the extra days allowed us to do. Love to hear what you guys think, though.
Yeah, I also agree with Andy. Like the the fact that we were limited with like 6 people casting crew, and like we already had so many like concerns like surrounding COVID and just being very cautious and careful about that. I think that really kind of slowed the whole production process down. But I mean, thankfully, I'm like the 10 days did give us enough time for post, which we were kind of struggling to really push through. Since everything was such a quick turnaround, I think, yeah, like those 10 days were absolutely key for us anyway. I don't know about other people.
Yeah, because with post, we weren't able to meet people in person or anything, so everything had to be sent out digitally, and you couldn't. It took a lot more time than it would normally do, I think.
Like a lot of digital handshakes. Just be like, pass here, let me upload this 10 gigabyte file. See you on the other end in about 3 hours or more. You know, like it was just rough in that regard as well, for sure.
Is there anybody else who'd like to comment on that?
I think we would have still made it, but the extra days definitely give us some extra time to refine and post, and just like give it some extra love that I feel like really helped the film, and just give some time to sit through it and just like come back to it and rewatch the film and just kind of make small adjustments. But I think like mentally, like our production team had plan to just like finish it in that short timeline. So Joanna, our producer, like really helped rein us in and just make everything be really feasible to get it done.
Yeah, I think for Dirty Laundry, like I think we would have made it in time. We had 4 days of shooting, I think. 4 days, yeah, wow. And I'm a pretty fast editor, so I was able to kind of get everything kind of squished in like that. So yeah, I think it would have been possible. But I definitely the extra days really helped, you know, with the mental health there, you know, making everything all good, you know. Yeah, definitely helped there.
Yeah, no late nights. I remember when I did my MAMM, it was a lot of late nights. And
I remember that.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
great times.
Yeah,
and,
fun.
So I'm happy you guys got to leisurely enjoy a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other comments before and then I could.
Yeah, I was also gonna say for Thin Lines, we probably would have been okay with the 10 days. It's just it helped us. So having those extra days helped us to really look at it again and look at what we could add. So funny story, those in Thin Lines, if you guys remember, there are these little animations that we had, not the big animation segment, but there are these little like poofs or like swooshes and blah blah blah. That was a last minute thing that we wanted to add just to really sell the dream part of it. Spoiler alert. And again, that like if we didn't have like those extra days helped us out with coming up with that, and we feel like it added to the film in a great way. So yeah.
Well, I'm really happy that you guys got to make it in the time that you had. So congratulations to all you mammers. Do we have any other questions from the audience?
I think Ian did. I think I saw in the comment.
Oh, a question from Ian. Ian Tonto, to all teams, what was a highlight of each of your productions? Any pleasant surprises? Oh, Ian Tan, not Tanto. Ian Tan.
That's our Ian, man.
Ian. Ian. Yeah. What was a highlight of each of your productions? Any pleasant surprises?
I don't sunburn.
You stole my answer, man. Yeah, the sunburn is definitely one because we didn't expect we're gonna be there 2 days and more than 15 hours, and there's no one tree in the area we're shooting. There's nothing.
There was no shade whatsoever. It was literally just the sun and us.
So we even hide in the car trunk sometimes, but yeah, but that's fun. But that's definitely a surprise. The sun is part of it.
Yeah, I think for Dirty Laundry, there's a character in our film. His name is Joseph. He's played by Melvin Medici, the guy who's playing the fake robber. He's known to be a very like explosive like actor, you know, in his actor persona as Melvin Medici. And I remember like asking him to kind of like let loose a bit, kind of like, you know, show his full persona, his full explosive persona. So we kind of spent like a long time. I mean, in the first take, he went full out crazy, and, you know, going all nuts and everything. It was so funny just seeing him like this improv, everything like that. And like, I was very glad to be able to pull that side of him out, because usually he's a very like, you know, shy, reserved kind of guy, but to see him act like a crazy guy and all that stuff was so funny. And yeah, I think that was the most memorable part of Dirty Laundry. Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely. Oh, Shun, I saw a hand.
Yeah, I think for me, like, one highlight from our production was like, I think it was a moment. I think it was probably like partway through day one. We had a really good kind of like flow going in terms of like getting our setups done and stuff like that. Because you know, given the whole limitation of 6 people casting crew, we really had to be as efficient as possible in setting everything up. And I think, yeah, and like Yuko was our actress, as well as our co-director, of course, and like Shuto Kumura, who was our wonderful, wonderful actor. I forgot to mention him earlier. Like, I mean, I didn't want to like bother them with any of the technical stuff and the gear and setting anything up. So it was really just like myself and 3 other crew who really like kind of like had to get all the gear kind of ready for every setup. And so like the efficiency of that, I think it really, I guess, was a testament to that. Yeah, it's great.
I think one of my highlights was definitely working with Taylor Kerr, our lead, and just like watching him work and bring so much to essentially like a one-person show was really impressive. And I think the second highlight was seeing our production design team build this cave, which was like when we first saw it with like it not being with it just being like wooden pieces, I was like, oh man, well, like what are we getting ourselves into? And then after seeing it all completed, it was really, really amazing.
Yeah, for us it was probably working with the shadow puppeteer for like 2 days straight, which was we worked with them before, but we worked way closer with them on this one to kind of really make sure that the story in the script matched the actual myths from the shadow puppets. And yeah, I just got to kind of learn a ton about everything behind that. Anything?
Yeah, it was like a shadow puppeteer crash course for 3 weeks, just having to learn everything in such a fast amount of time. And yeah, also building a relationship with the consulate was really a big highlight, because then you actually find out more that there are an Indonesian community, or like, you know, more people that are supporting you in the arts as well. So that was very cool.
Well, that's great. I'm so happy you guys got something beautiful out of each of the pieces that you're able to make during the pandemic. So glad there's highlights. Maybe for the time that we have left, any quick questions between you guys that you want to throw at each other? Anything while we're here, grouped up? You can even do comments.
I might have.
All right, go ahead.
I have a question to kind of everyone. Like how was your kind of like pre-production planning process like? Because I know, because like, you know, working with a bunch of directors, like I've seen a breadth of different like techniques and approaches. I'm really curious to hear all of your different approaches.
I'll go first. I'll keep it short and sweet. Basically, a lot of storyboarding and a lot of previs. So basically, shooting the film before shooting the film and editing it and seeing the pacing, and then just showing it to people and saying, "Hey, does this work? No, it doesn't. Okay, go back to the drawing board." So it's a lot of like trial and error in that front. So yeah, previs, lots of previs and storyboards for me.
For me, it was efficient blocking and ensuring that whatever I block, we are still keeping in mind like how we could possibly shoot things to keep the actors as safe as possible for many reasons. One, we were like shooting on top of a mountain, and two, we were working under COVID protocols. So just like throughout that entire shooting, we were still keeping those things in mind, and that was just a lot of preparation in prep, basically. How about you, Shin?
For me, like I also like I wish I could have storyboarded this. I would have loved to, although my drawing skills are awful. So I tend to do it all digitally. But for this project, I definitely like took a lot of time, careful time blocking, doing blocking diagrams, like, and also like really plan like all the shots with my director of photography, and being like a director of photography myself, like usually like I'm always all for like economy of shots, because obviously we all know that like if we have too many shots on the shot list, because the director is like, oh, I'm such a visionary. No, I don't want to say that. No, I love having so many shots, which it could be a lot and overwhelming. So I always try to keep it as minimal as we can while still being able to tell the story right. So that was kind of my approach.
I think for us in pre-production, it was a big thing to have open communication between all the keys and making sure everyone is always on the same page, regardless of what stage we're. Just because on set we know that there's going to be things that we didn't plan for as much as you want to plan for everything, and if everyone is on the same page, it just makes it easier to improvise and solve whatever problems come up. So that was a big thing for us.
For me, actually, for this project, I actually took the most time writing. I tried to write every night, even until up to production, I think, or at least 2 days before production, because I've learned a lot that like screenwriting really does make or break your film. And in terms of like the HODs, we tried as much as possible to have daily check-ins with like DPs, PDs, and our editors, especially since we couldn't have our art team on set. Like they had to prep the day before because of the 6-person rule. So we tried to make sure that we can, everyone. It really felt like a family.
Yeah. Any other closing statements to production? Which is our unfortunately our last question. So if you guys have anything like that, or if you guys want to thank each other
quickly, I think just some everyone boards, and thanks everyone.
Yeah, that's gotta say I love all you guys.
It's really inspiring seeing everyone's film.
Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, gosh.
No, but watching everyone's films and seeing it all like under like 5 minutes and everything, it was just so focused and so like concise. And I just loved seeing the whole community just get together, especially during that time back in August, just supporting each other and helping each other out. Man, I love you guys. You guys are so awesome. Yeah.
I love you too. Such an awesome group of people.
Huge honor.
We're all mammers here. We're all the MAMM family. This is our little cohort group. So I hope one day we get to help each other out in the future. Hopefully once we get out of this pandemic. So, but thank you so much.
Hopefully see you next year.
Yeah.
Or on set, within the next couple years.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. So let's give a round of applause for everybody who had participated in MAMM this year. Awesome MAMM films. If you guys want to unmute yourselves, then it doesn't sound like it's like 2 people clapping. Yeah! Like throughout the whole thing, it's just only 2 people clapping, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but thanks, guys. I guess we'll catch you soon, because I do know we got to move on to another VAFF event. So hopefully we'll catch you guys there.
Good luck with that.
Thanks, guys. Okay. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye, folks. See you later.
Take care.
Take care, everybody. As we slowly file out. Bye. All right. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to our MAMM Canadian Shorts screening. So thank you again for tuning in to the panel, Live Filmmakers Talk Canadian Shorts series, MAMM Winners. If you like any of the films, you can be the judge to select the People's Choice Award for overall short and overall performance. So you can vote online at http://vaff.org/vote/. There you go, and there's right there. That is the link, so you can vote there during the duration of the festival till November 9th, 2020. So that's up until 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. And please stay behind to watch our upcoming closing night spotlight called Beyond the Dream Filmmakers Talk, and followed by closing remarks at our YouTube channel. So please share your experience with us on social media. #VAFF virtual, #VAFF at VAFF Vancouver. So thank you, everybody. Thanks to the whole VAFF team, and thanks to MAMM. And everybody have a great evening. We'll catch you soon. Bye, guys.